Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new video on the 3D Critic channel. I'm David, your host, and today I'm going to give you guys my top 10 best traction setups that I have tried so far this year. Now, what I look for in traction, I look for something that has a very grippy, tacky bite. So when you're going laterally and vertically, you're going to be insanely shifty going from side to side. You're able to stop on a dime and you're going to have a quick first step on top of that. And I also like a traction setup that doesn't pick up too much dust. A little bit of dust, but it is easy to wipe off, and it has very solid durability on top of it. So if you play indoors and outdoors, you're going to be good to go. And starting off at number 10 on this list, I have the Puma All Pro Nitros. This traction setup overall with the multi-directional herringbone traction that you got was pretty good. It had a solid bite, whether you're going laterally and vertically. It does take a while to warm up because the rubber itself is kind of hard, so you do have to warm it up first just to get an overall solid feel when it comes to the overall traction setup. And the durability is pretty good too. There was a little bit of fraying on the outer edge of the outsole, but besides that, the rest of the outsole was pretty much intact. So indoors and outdoors, you're going to be good to go. It was a overall solid traction setup when it came down to it. Just be sure that you have to warm it up. Coming in at number 9, I have the Nike KD17s. This was a surprising traction setup in my opinion, because there were a lot of rumors going around that the traction setup wasn't very good, especially on dust. And I found the opposite of that in my opinion. It was a overall very solid experience. It was very grippy, didn't have to warm it up or anything. It was very solid out of the gate. So laterally and vertically felt really good overall, especially lateral movements. They felt really shifty going from side to side. And the overall dust pickup, I didn't pick up that much dust. It was a little bit of dust here and there, but it was easy to wipe off at the end of the day. Durability was decent overall in my opinion. There was a little bit of fraying here and there, especially in the high wear areas, but overall you should be good to go and playing them outdoors. But keep them indoors and you're going to have a really solid experience when it comes to the traction setup in the KD17s. Coming in at number 8, I have the Jordan 39s with the translucent outsole that you get with a multi-directional herringbone traction pattern that crosses into each other, which was very good in my opinion. I really like the bite that I got out of that, especially with lateral movements. It was very shifty, and for the vertical movements too, the hard stops were very good, and I also got a quick first step out of them too. The dust pickup was a little bit tricky here and there. It does pick up a decent amount of dust, but it is easy to wipe off after a few wipes and you're going to be good to go. It does pick up very quickly though, so you do have to keep up with your wipes here and there. And durability, the durability was pretty good, especially indoors. I did notice a little bit of fraying in the high wear areas a little bit, and a little bit in some sections of the outsole, but it is holding up pretty well, especially indoors, which is an improvement to the Jordan 38s. So big improvement at that when it comes to the Jordan 39s. So outdoors you should be fine, but indoors you're going to be good to go. Coming in at number 7, I have the Nike GT Cut 3s. The lightning herringbone traction pattern that you got had a very tacky sensation to it, so it was very grippy coming out of the gate. It does require a little bit of warming up because it does slip in the beginning, but once it warms up a little bit, it is very tacky laterally and vertically, especially vertically. The get-offs that I got were lightning quick, so I was able to cut to the basket very quickly, hence the GT Cut name. So it is pretty cliche when it comes to the GT Cut 3s. It was very good when it comes to the overall traction that you get, especially indoors. Outdoors, you should be fine. There is a little bit of grazing, especially in the high wear areas a little bit, but everywhere else, it is pretty good. And when it comes to dust pickup, it does pick up a little bit of dust, and it is easy to wipe off because of the tacky nature that you get from the rubber itself. Coming in at number 6, I have the Kai1 Speed. The traction I got out of this was very good. It was very tacky, in my opinion, and the grooves that you get were a herringbone pattern, and it had micro gritting in the individual rubber that you got from it. So it has insane durability from what I've experienced. There was little to no fraying from the high wear areas that I have experienced. So overall, indoors, it is very tacky going from side to side, and push-ups felt very good too, and you're able to stop on a dime. It does have a little bit of give when you stop on a dime. That way it doesn't feel too uncomfortable on hard stops. And overall, it was just a very good tacky experience when it came down to it. So yeah, it was a very good experience compared to the regular Kai1s, where it was a good traction setup, but it was a flattened outsole compared to the Kai1 Speed, where it was a sticked out rubber outsole compared to the regular Kai1s. Coming in at number 5, I have the updated version of the LeBron 21s. When I first had these on, the rubber was very sticky coming out of the gate, so it felt very tacky and very shifty going from side to side especially. So I really like how sticky it was compared to the regular version, where it was sliding every now and then, and it does require some warm up. But in the update, the rubber is very sticky once you get it out of the box, and it felt very nice going from side to side, and going up and down the court was very quick push-offs, and stopping on a dime too felt really good. It did pick up a little bit of dust here and there, but it was very easy to wipe off. And durability, it is on the lower side of things. It does fray a little bit and start to peel off on the higher areas, but everywhere else it is more than fine. So you're going to be good to go playing these outdoors and indoors. Coming in at number 4, I have the Adidas AE1 high top and the low top, because they basically use the same traction setup with the overall herringbone semi-translucent outsole that you get. And it was a very tacky shoe. The give that you get from the rubber gives you a nice tactile sensation. That way you're able to stop on a dime immediately, and you're able to get up to speed on your push-offs as well. So vertical movements, they felt really good. So getting up to speed very quickly was very good in the AE1s, in my opinion. And it was no slouch when it came to lateral movements as well. It does pick up a little bit of dust, but it is easy to wipe off every now and then. So just keep up to date with that, and you should be fine when it comes to dust pickup. And durability, it is good indoors. However, outdoors, I would be cautious, because once you start wearing out the rubber, especially in the higher areas, it does start to bind together with the other grooves. So you will experience some sliding here and there, especially when you play outdoors. But the overall performance I got indoors was phenomenal, in my opinion, especially when it came to vertical movements. Now, coming in at number 3, I have a two-way tie with the Way of Weight 11s, as well as the All City 12 Encore, because they basically use the same outsole. It's just a different pattern, where they use a ground control unit rubber from the Way of Weight brand. And it was very comparable to the Curry traction setup, but it doesn't suffer with the dust and durability. So tactile feel was absolutely insane. Going from side to side, vertical movements, hard stops, and getting quick first steps too was one of the best, if not the best, in my opinion, when it comes down to it. When it came to dust, it picks up a little bit of dust, especially in the All City 12s, but as you start to break it in, it doesn't pick up that much dust, and I rarely had to wipe it off. And durability, they're pretty durable, surprisingly, because the grooves are very thin when it comes down to it, but I didn't experience any fraying from the outsole itself. So yeah, it was a very surprising traction setup, especially with the ground control unit rubber that you get. It was surprisingly soft, but it managed to not wear off when it comes to the durability side of things. Coming in at number 2, and surprisingly, I have the Way of Weight Fission 9. The lightning bolt traction pattern that I got on that was very durable, insanely durable, in my opinion. The overall grooves that you get were very thick, and the micro gritting that you get on top of the traction pattern itself just gives it an extra layer of durability. So it is a very durable shoe when it comes down to it. So indoors and outdoors, you're going to be good to go right out of the gate. As far as tactile feel goes, vertical movements felt very good. You're able to stop on a dime instantly, and you get very quick push-offs too. Lateral movements, they're no slouch either. You're able to be really shifty going from side to side from what I've experienced. So yeah, it was a very chunky outsole with the rubber that you get, and it is decoupled too, so it isn't like a full-length outsole. So you're going to have very durable rubber in the rear and very durable rubber in the forefoot. So it is a very consistent experience, especially with the decoupled outsole that you get. Now, before I reveal the best traction setup that I've tried, I have a few honorable mentions. There were a couple of things that were lacking when it comes to like the durability or the dust pickup that you got, and even the overall traction setup when it came down to it. And when it comes to honorable mentions, I have the Curry 11 / the Curry 12, because they basically use the same flow foam outsole overall. It is a very tacky shoe, one of the best that you're going to get when it comes to traction. In a clean court though, because when it comes to dusty courts, it picks up dust rather quickly, and you do have to frequently wipe it down. And durability, it is the worst out of the bunch, so that is why it is an honorable mention and not regulated into the top 10 in my opinion. So it is a very good traction setup. It just suffers in dust, and it is not as durable. And I also have the Harden Volume 8. The traction setup initially, it slided like skates in my opinion initially, and it picked up dust quite frequently when I was playing it initially. However, once you break through that dusting phase, from what I've experienced, it is actually a very solid traction setup. It's very shifty going from side to side, and vertically it is pretty good too. It just takes a while to get through that rubber dusting phase from what I've experienced, and it does become like a pretty decent traction setup overall, and it is pretty grippy at that. Durability, it's no slouch either. It does pick up some wear from the higher areas, especially the outer rim of the outsole, but on the core of the outsole itself, with a bunch of H's that are spread throughout it, it didn't really pick up any wear from what I've experienced. So yeah, it was a pretty solid shoe. It just had to get through the dusting phase, and that was kind of annoying to deal with. Now, coming in at number one, the best traction setup that I've tried, and it was very surprising the moment I have tried it, and it is the New Balance two-way V5s with the overall bullseye pattern that you get throughout the shoe. It was a very tacky suction cup experience, whether you're going laterally and vertically. It felt like I was everything everywhere all at once on the court. I was able to get really shifty going from side to side, so I was able to stick everybody like glue. And when it came to cutting to the basket, it was very instant at that, and you're able to stop on a dime when doing step backs and stuff like that. So I really like the overall like suction cup feel that I got from the two-way V5s, and I rarely picked up any dust in them either, so I rarely had to wipe when it came down to the traction setup. And it is very durable too. It does have like a little micro gridding on the bullseye patterns itself, and that was like the only sign of like fraying that I have experienced. So that was like the only sign of wear when it came to the durability section. So indoors and outdoors, you're going to be good to go regardless of it. And regardless of the court condition that you're in, you're going to have really solid suction cupping traction from what I've experienced in the two-way V5s. And it is by far a very close margin compared to the other shoes, especially the Way of Waves. The traction setup on those are very grippy, but I had a surprising sensation when it came to the two-way V5s. And it is the best traction setup that I've tried so far this year. Thank you guys for watching this video. This has been my top 10 traction setups that I've tried so far this year. Leave a like if you enjoyed this video and comment down below on what you think are the best traction setups so far this year. I'd like to know your opinion on that. And do you agree with this list? I'd like to know your thoughts on that, as well as any other questions that you might have. And if you'd like to stay up to date with future videos I'll be posting, hit the subscribe button down below. And if you want to see my reviews on all of these shoes, I will leave my performance review playlist on this side of the screen. And if you'd like to follow me on social media, all of that information will be in the description box below. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. I hope this was beneficial to you guys. And until next time, keep shooting.